Hey guys, this is the Editing Execute. Just letting you guys know if you would like to win a Khartual, make sure you subscribe and leave a comment in the video below. And if we hit 15k subs by the stream on Thursday your time in the up over or Friday on the down under, we'll be giving away that Khartual. So yeah, we only need 150 subscribers and we hit that magic 15k. So yeah. All right, on with the video. Bye. G'day, everyone with Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algared. How you doing, buddy?
Fairly well, fairly well.
So we had some stuff, 3D models drop of the Syulen, the Arrastra, and the Storm. So we thought we'd go through those with you now and have a first look. And as you can see, they also dropped a very nice image of the Syulen, which I've artistically rendered. As you'll see, I'll show you the original in a minute. And yeah, I've changed it a bit. But anyway, let's pop it over to the browser, Agrid, and have a look. So here's the Storm. And obviously it's a little bit in pieces, but you can see from this that they are basically how they make the thing.
So
go ahead.
I was going to say, so there's two things that come out of this. One, as you said, they pull it apart, so it shows how they make that. So that could indicate down the track we get another variant of this thing, whether it's a shield emitter, like the Star Wars shield generators that they use, and some of their scenes, Star Wars movies. But the other thing you see is those 4 missile pods on the missile rack. So
yeah,
you can really see those.
It does show that there's a front and back to this thing in a lot of ways too. Like obviously you've got the spine here that goes into where this goes. So as you said, we may see other versions of this down the line because there is essentially 2 modular parts to it. Now, whether or not we as players get this as a modular thing is completely up to them. It's really designed this way to make it easier for the developers. But who knows? I guess we'll find out in a couple of days' time. But I think it's a nice model. I think they've done really well. And I look forward to seeing that one in game. And I'm really kind of intrigued to see what happens with the Storm there.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. All right. With that then, I'm going to go on to the Syulen one. This is the little image that they dropped. And so it is definitely a thing. And very, very purple. What's your initial impression there, Agrid, of the Syulen?
My initial impression is, yes, it does look like one of the early sketches for Raylan. So if you ever read Volume 9, Issue 7 of Jump Point, which was all on the Raylan, there's one of the sketches they have, and it really does look like the front view of what became the Syulen. And I can just imagine Chris going, yeah, I like this one for the Raylan, but that is such a good ship, we've got to make a ship for it.
Yeah.
And it just helps build out, as they build a second ship, it just helps build out the design language for that designer, and not only that, but also the Suan tech as well.
I do believe that the cockpit is actually behind this central part, and we'll show you some photos.
I think you're right as well.
Yeah, that dropped from the internals, and there's a couple of things me and Algrid noticed straight away. I do have to say thank you to Avacos Wolf for providing us with these models on fairly short notice. But you'll actually also notice that it seems to have a thruster on every arm, so that gives it 6 thrusters, and then the bigger ones appear to have ones on the outside as well, which is what this is. So it's kind of interesting. But yeah, Algrid, you were saying that people are going to be disappointed.
People are looking for something other than a cargo ship. Prepare for disappointment, because we think that these sections here are actually for the cargo pods. So, and we think there'll be 2 cargo pods for each thing, which will be 6 cargo pods all up. How big those cargo pods are, we have no idea.
Yeah, obviously being alien, they're a little different, but you'd assume though, Agrid, they're somewhere comparable with the Cutlass and Freelancer and stuff. And so yeah, somewhere, what is it, 32s or 16s the lowest in the Zeus MR, so somewhere from 16 to 128. I don't think it'll be 128, but you get my point. Nonetheless,
the smallest cargo ship, or the largest cargo capacity in a small ship, is actually the 315P with 16. I believe, and then after that you go into medium cargo haulers. So take that where you will, but that's about all we can really tell you.
Yeah, I do believe this is the entry point into the ship. I'm not, like this is, again, me guessing a little bit here, but like it looks like this is like some form of elevator. There might be stairs like on the Khartual, and you basically get sucked up into that, and off into the rest of the ship. But we'll have to wait and see because I could be
Sucked up into a phallic
yeah,
appendage.
I could be
Yes.
completely off.
Lovely.
Actually, no, that does not look like the thing. That actually looks like one of the thrusters. I could be wrong. But the reason I bring that up, we'll go into the internals now. So there's this elevator all the
I kind
way.
of hope you're wrong because of the way that looks.
Yeah, but there are elevators on
Mm,
all the floors through this thing, so it's clear it's got the same design as the Raelian, so it goes all the
mm,
way up and down. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, similar things like the use button that me and Aragod pointed out in our last episode,
yeah,
and obviously living quarters and bathrooms and hand
and other
basins and
little
stuff like that.
knickknacks.
Same curves and lines that appeared on the one that was in the video a couple of years back on ISC. But I think the popularity and the real draw card to this for me, Argrid, and I'm not sure about yourself, but is we finally get to see an internals of the
Mm,
Cyan. We had the Defender, so we've at least seen one of the Banu, but this is our first Cyan look. So yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It's the first time we see an actual pure Xi'an ship. Like even the Raylan
Mm.
is Xi'an design, but it's designed for humans and Xi'an. Whereas this is just a straight Xi'an ship. So
Mm.
it's a bit more yeah, a bit more nuanced, I think. So
Yeah. Obviously, this is the cockpit. Again, if you look at the kind of window and angles, it does kind
mm,
of line up to what me and Agri are just saying here. It's very similar to this triangular one here with the flat sides on each part. So if you go back to this, oh, wrong one, this one, you can kind of see
yeah,
that look. So I think it's on point to be that's what the cockpit is. And so when you look at that, you can kind of all of a sudden start to see that the size of the ship. Now, we were told the pad size for this is S3, so it is like what me and Algared originally have been telling you guys. It's not a starter ship; it's a medium, much in
mm,
line. So you know, where I was saying like it had doubled from Cutlass to Freelancer to Zeus and Spirit. It's now a fifth one.
yeah,
So yeah, which is really interesting. And
which is good.
I'd much prefer a cargo ship in the medium area than pretty
Yeah,
much anywhere else at this point. It's the one
it's
area that's lacking, yeah?
yeah. It's also interesting if you again look at that Jump Point magazine
Mhm.
for issue, volume 9, issue 7. They talked about the original design brief for the Raylan was a small cargo hauler
Yeah.
that was in between a Max and a Freelancer Max and a Cutlass
Mm.
and a Caterpillar, sorry. And I get the feeling this is probably fitting more what that original design was because I think the Raylan just blew up and became
Yep.
big. So
Absolutely agree with you. You can kinda see how this may fold up a little bit as well, like,
mm,
so I'm just gonna pick one arm because they probably all do this relatively the same, but as this arm closes in, it then gives this ability here for this to fold as well, so it's gonna be
mm,
interesting. I'm really intrigued to see like, I've been seeing it watching this while Argid was, eating his dinner. And I can't quite work out exactly how it does it, but I'm pretty sure as this goes back, that allows this to fold in,
yeah,
and that's how that's going to work. So it's kind almost like a flower, folding backwards though. So instead of
yeah,
opening like a flower, it's closing like one. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I imagine it will land on those bottom two
mm,
fins, the big ones, kind of like the Raelian does with the gorilla arm type thing.
yeah.
Unless you think any different there, Agrid.
No, and I think if you rotate a little bit to the other way, so that way, and it closes down, you could almost see that shape being what was seen in those
Yeah,
shadowy orange things. So that could have been the Syulen that we were looking at
yeah,
in that strange shape language. So
yeah. I think it's probably a little bit different now. You could
mm,
get to it, but yeah, my brain is telling me it's a mirror again now. But we'll have to
yeah,
wait and see. But yeah, no, you could be absolutely on point there, Agrid. We'll just have to wait and see. Um, yeah, it's gonna sell like hotcakes.
absolutely.
I think that's all we can say for that. But yeah, there's some interior shots here as well, as we said. Let's go. This is the other thing I want to talk about real quick is some skins for it. So obviously the ship itself is very metallic looking, and they all have kind of I don't know metallic effects. I don't know what else to call it,
Yep,
Algrid. Do they
yep,
speak
that's
to you at
right.
all, Algrid, or not?
The whole ship speaks to me, which is really annoying because it's Jean, and I'm an anti and I'm anti Jean. I'm anti
Mm.
our Imperator because she's a Jean loving,
May-
peace hugging.
Maybe you should just take the law out of it and fly it.
Yeah, yeah.
How dare I
Come
suggest something so traitorous? No. Oh no.
Of course I'm going to buy it. What do you think?
Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to say the least. All right. And finally we have the RSI Arrastra. And this really took me and Argid by surprise because it's more pioneer than RSI in a lot of ways.
It
And
does look more Pioneer, doesn't it?
yeah,
As you said, it looks like the Pioneer and a Galaxy had a baby.
and there are some other ships from I guess RSI that come into it. Like one of the ones is if you look at it from behind, you get Perseus and Bengal vibes from the engines. And as you pointed out, it almost has got like a little evil turtle face here in the back.
That's to scare off Banu. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Algared did talk about the turrets here. It's got, what'd you say? How many guns are on the turrets again,
They're quad turrets by the look
Yep.
of them. So it's got 3 quad turrets, two on the broad sides or on the sides, and one on the tail.
Yep. And this one I believe is manned. Because these are sideways, we currently don't have any sideway turrets that are manned. So I think it's similar to the Galaxy. So I think the 2 on the side are going to be remote, and I think the one on top is going to be manned.
Yep.
It does have this weird thing where it can't shoot forward very well.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yep. No, I think that's one of the things I said to you earlier when we were talking. I said it's got these side turrets, but the front thrusters kind of block your forward arc, and the tail and the rear thrusters block your rear arc. So it's really
so at the
a weird sense.
At the very least, you think that this will come out a bit, and this might get tucked in a bit. So yeah. You can obviously see VTOLs on this thing, which is indicative of what me and I have been telling you, that this thing is an on-planet miner. Whether it lands or not to do that mining, we'll wait and see.
And they're big. Yeah.
Very, very big.
Got a weird bracket at the front as well.
Yep,
we're
under
not
the
sure
chin.
what that's for.
So let me show you this bracket that Algared's talking about. We think that this might slide forward and go into that bracket, and the reason why we think that is if you go back this way, it actually looks like a little ramp or a door here. The other thing you can tell while we're here is it's actually 3 decks. So you've got the bottom one, some kind of viewing platform for obviously whenever you're doing your mining or whatever, and then your flight deck up the top, which is very indicative of the Galaxy and the Perseus. I'm expecting, Algared, I don't know about you, there to be some kind of processing system in here, and it outputs to all these different cargo boxes all over the place.
Yep. I'm expecting, with a name like Arrastra, I'm expecting it to, at the bare minimum, literally crush up the rocks and separate the ore from the inert material, and do a better job of it than the Mole and the Prospector can do.
Yeah, and I think
that's just my 2 bits work, and I say that because they're smaller and this is large.
Yeah, and I think it'll definitely be sorting them, and I think it's kind of very telling that they're on the top here, because I'm hoping that you can track beam them off and attach them to your ship, so there's constantly someone essentially taking them away. And I think that's obviously the advantage of the Orion. The Orion clearly has a lot more cargo than this, so it kind of tells you that this thing's got to either be working with other people or it's going to be going back a lot more frequently. But I'd still argue that's a lot of cargo, but I wouldn't say it's anything close to the Orion, would you?
No. And you've got cargoes. Well, the Orion's twice the size at least, and it's got great big canisters. It does have canisters on the side as well. It seems to be ringed in canisters.
But there's lots of little details, and it is very hard to make some of this stuff out because it is just a flat model. Like it appears to be that there's a landing gear here. There is some kind of door here that appears to be might be an elevator or something.
Something else.
It also looks like there's 2 landing gear here. So again, it lands with 3 legs, like most of the RSI stuff. And of course, we've got a docking collar on. Is it on both sides? Yeah, it's on both sides.
Yep.
So, and with that, you can kind of use that for the scale. And what they did here was someone dropped this image, so you can see it next to an 890 jump, which I think is kind of interesting and telling of how big it is. Which is, I don't know, it's still
large,
pretty big. Look at the Liberator. That's what I would have liked to have seen it exactly against, because believe it or not, the old miner was 575, and the Liberator was in that. I believe that was 575 too, in the same ballpark, or at least at concept. So I'm now expecting this to be over 575, but yeah,
Yep.
I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like, if this is cheaper than the Liberator, uh, it's weird, you know. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, like, because again, the Orion now going up by $75. I'm now wondering if this is 575. Where does your brain take you in that regard, Algred?
Well, we always said, it'd be in between the Mole and the Orion,
Mm,
and our original price was 450, and I did say at the time they could put the Orion up, and that could give them more room to increase the price. And so they've
yeah.
put the Orion up, so I've got to go with they're increasing the price of this as well. So yeah, 500, 575.
Just notice this, Algred. I think they actually do extend, which would mean they move out of the way. See that?
Yeah.
I think that will eventually. I know it's probably not at the right angle, because you got to remember, guys, this is a hologram, holo viewer model, so it's not
Hmm.
perfect. It's kind of kit bash, but I think they'll close in, and then you won't be able to. The
And that
guns will
would be
be able to.
nice if they do.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, I don't know, Agar. What's your kind of like initial takeaway? Like, are you going to buy 17 or just 10?
no, no, I think I just get the one. And the
Yeah.
other thing is, we wondered about those two forks
Mm,
at the front. The tuning fork. Have no idea what it is. Whether
mm,
it's part of a tractor beam system, whether it's a vacuum
mm.
system, whether it's we have no idea.
Yeah, we did also look at the back as well.
Yeah,
There's appears to be a door here, but there's this weird missing square. It's like we're going into complete speculation territory here if we go too much further. But we're like, what if one's a mining and one's a tractor beam? So this is breaking up and this is sucking up. Like, we'll have to wait and see. It's only
yeah,
a couple of days now, but I don't know. I guess, Agard, in the comments, I'd like to hear what people think of the look of it, because that's all we can really kind of go on at the
yeah.
moment. I'd like to know what people think of that, and I also would like them to know what people think of the
The
Syulen as
Syulen.
well.
Yeah,
Are you looking to buy one? Um, this is going to sell like crazy.
yeah. I think the
Um,
Syulen will sell a lot better. Well, I think the Syulen will definitely sell better than the Arrastra, just because it's a
mm,
smaller ship, so it's going to be cheaper.
well,
But I think the design language of that does
mhm,
speak to me more than the design language of the RSI ship, and I
yeah.
love RSI, so
Yeah, I think that's probably
that's
why
my
they
guarantee.
they probably sold the Zeus first, because they knew this was coming. Obviously, if you had to
Yeah.
speculate or guess at price point, Agrid, where do you think this is going to land? Knowing what the Zeus was like 150 for the ES and the CL. So,
Well, when we were talking um, about the Zeus, we were talking
mm,
freelancerish size. I'd say the same thing, but I think there's also going to be alien tax. So if you're looking at, say 150, then you might go 180 just because of alien tax.
I think because it's just a cargo ship, and I know I don't like to say that, but like the cargo ship seemed to be
Yeah,
the base variants and a little bit cheaper. I think it will be around 150.
yeah,
But we'll see. We'll see.
yeah,
I can clearly see it going more expensive, but you got to remember the Raelian is out, or not out,
mm,
sorry, and it's $70 more. That would make it only $70 more at 220. So they can't go too much higher, or people will just jump to the Raelian.
yeah.
And
And I,
it does a lot more.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You've got to keep it within that same price bracket.
Mm.
Um,
So
given that they and I given that they've released the um, I've forgotten the name.
the Talon and Shrike, is that what you were going to talk about?
No,
No.
they released the RSI ship, the Zeus. Dear
Yep.
me,
Yeah, that's all right.
they released the Zeus and they got the that price out. It
Mm.
could be that this one's cheaper because people will
Mm.
not be able to go, upgrade to it. So,
Well, that's kind of I'm kind of secretly hoping, like the
mm,
Talon and Shrike, they kind of surprised us on the price of this one, right? So
yeah,
realistically, I think Agad, you'd agree with me, knowing those medium ships now, this could pretty much be anywhere from 110 to 190.
yeah,
They're where they all sit now. So
yeah,
I think if you prepare for that, you're not going to be surprised. And I think that would be the takeaway from me from this video, unless
indeed,
you think
yeah.
different. As for the Aristrada, Agrid, do you want to have a crack at that one? Because that one gets a lot harder for me. Um,
Well, I think it's what we said before. When we first looked at
mm,
it, we said Mole, Orion. We went for middle, so we were going 450 at that point. the Orions had a price increase, which gave it the wriggle room to go up. You were thinking 575.
Yeah.
Puts it at the Liberator's price point. That seems reasonable as well. So I think we're looking at a ship that's going to be smack bang in the middle, or round about the middle of the Orion's new price and the Mole's price.
Yeah, but when I look at a Liberator at 575, I just can't see this being cheaper than a Liberator. I just can't.
Well, we all know the Liberator is just a shipping ship.
Yeah, and you're going to make a lot more money out of this than you are out of a Liberator, unless you
CIG will price that accordingly.
Yeah, and I think this. I don't know about you, Algared, but this speaks to me a bit more than the Liberator. It's got a bit more design cues and being industry.
Anything speaks to me better than the Liberator. But I've also got to say that Syulen speaks to me more than this. So
yeah. So Algared,
I think I've got a bit more time for that to grow on me.
Yeah. So people at marketing, rub your hands together with glee when you finally actually bring out a alien miner. Algared will be there with bells on. So yeah. Just let us know in the comments what you guys think of these ships coming down the pipe. I think it's going to be a massive sale, and I think there's going to be a lot of people that cough up the cash for these ships. Algared, what would you like to hear from people in the comments below?
Yeah, which of those designs do you prefer? Are you liking the Syulen? Are you liking the Retaliator? Not the Retaliator, the Arrastra.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously tired.
It doesn't roll off the tongue. It's a weird name.
No, it doesn't roll off the tongue.
Yeah. But yeah,
when we get tired, what do? We just say Retaliator.
Yep. So yeah, obviously the Storm's there as well. I think the vehicle. You can obviously clearly now see there are 3 separate price points at the sale. That's generally how they go. So we've got a vehicle at roughly around $80 to $100, and then we've got this at around 150, and then obviously a much bigger one going up. Now that doesn't mean we might not get some other ships. It's just traditionally over the last few sales, we tend to get 3 maximum. And they also tend to, like, some sales have only had 2. So it really depends where they want to go. They have said that there is a few surprises. So, I'll believe it when I see it. But it was a very quiet year in Invictus. So I'm wondering how this will shape up as well. Is there anything you're expecting beyond this, Algared, or you think it's safe to be kind of understated and just think these are the 3 things we're getting?
I think be understated. We might get something else. We have seen other leaks of smaller vehicles, but that's
that's
all up in the air. It's all guesswork, isn't it?
Well, they're not in the files, So like the Cutter Expedition, it's not in the files.
Yep.
So you have to assume that it's just not coming, because this is the build that's being tested on the PTU right now. Yep. So go in expecting these 3. Anything else will be a surprise. So All right, with that then, don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. And thank you to all those people that went that extra mile on the end credits at the end of the video. With that, he's been Algared.
He's been Execute, and we're out of here. Take care.
Catch you in the next one.